Welcome. This video onwards, we are starting a new series of video lectures on short and interesting reading tasks and stories which will serve the multiple objectives of building reading speed as well as vocabulary. In this edition, we are featuring the story of India's greatest poet and playwright, Mahakavi Kalidasa. Well, the legend of Kalidasa begins on a note that he was extremely stupid before his enlightenment, to the extent that he used to sit on the same branch that he was about to soar down, only to fall a considerable distance. Now, in this particular kingdom, there lived a very learned princess called Vidyotma, whose knowledge surpassed that of all the scholars in her kingdom. In her arrogance, she had humbled and insulted many wise men and spurned their marriage proposals, saying that she would marry the one who would defeat her in a battle of wits. Well, the word spurned means to reject with disdain or contempt. Moving on, to avenge the ill treatment meted out to them, these men resolved to find the stupidest man they could get their hands on and present him to the princess as an extremely wise man, a so-called fitting candidate for her royal hand. And their search ended at Kalidasa, who was notorious as the stupidest man in the entire kingdom. The word meet in this case means to dispense or allot a harsh treatment to someone. And for the word resolve, one of the meanings is to decide firmly on a course of action. The third word, which might be tricky, is notorious. It's a synonym of infamous. It means well known, typically for some bad quality or deed. So, these men lured Kalidasa with promises of good food and drinks and took him to the palace. They also advised Kalidasa to keep his mouth shut under all circumstances and to simply move his fingers and fists when questioned. In the palace, they presented Kalidasa as a great sage who was observing a vow of silence, and so he could communicate only through gestures. So when the princess interrogated Kalidasa, his gestures were open to interpretation by the wise men. As the first question, Vidyotma showed him one finger of her right hand. Kalidasa, the fool, thought that she intended to blind him in one eye. So he showed up two fingers, signaling that if she would blind him in one eye, he would blind her in both eyes. The scholars explained that the princess' one finger means that there is only one God. But Kalidasa means that there is one God, but there is also the human soul, which is considered a part of God in the Hindu religion. Next, the princess showed the open palm of her hand. Now Kalidasa took this to mean that she would slap him. He showed a fist to signal that he would box her in return. The scholars explained that the 5 fingers of the princess's palm signify the 5 human senses. But according to Kalidasa, the fist means that when the 5 senses are kept under control, only then can one attain greatness. After this, Vidyotma conceded her defeat and married Kalidasa. But shortly after they entered the marriage chamber, Kalidasa uttered something, and to her horror, she discovered that she was married to a dolt. After cursing and humiliating him, she kicked him out of her palace. Well, the word concede means to admit or agree that something is true after first denying or resisting it. And the word dolt means a stupid person. Moving on, rejected by his wife, Kalidasa was so hurt that he first contemplated suicide, but then in a moment of divine inspiration and blessing, decided against it and resolved to become an intellectual. From that moment onwards, Kalidasa made a concerted effort towards acquiring knowledge, and after years of study became the most brilliant and eloquent poet in Indian literature. Credited with many masterpieces such as Abhigyan Shakuntalam, he is widely regarded as the Shakespeare of India. The word divine means of or like God, and eloquent, as in eloquent poet, is used as an adjective for someone who is fluent And that brings us to the end of this video. Hope you like the story. Subscribe our channel and stay tuned for more such videos. Thank you.